Welcome everyone to the webinar. My name is G. Kofi Annan. I'm glad to have you guys here. We're really going to spend the time that we have here really focusing on AI beyond the hype. I know we've all seen the headlines, and all the different things that come across our path. But my perspective is really about making that useful. If you've been in the technology space as long as I have, and some of you on here have you've seen things come and go, and the different hype cycles go up and down from social to mobile. Depending on how far you go back, you could even talk about the internet itself, www, and then also even looking at Web3. But as we all know, as professionals, it really is about how do we harness that technology to enable what we're doing in our daily lives, and in some cases for our customers and clients. So this webinar is going to be focused on how to find and target your ideal customers with AI, and as a result of that, boost your marketing ROI. And I think that part is really important because it is about the activity of finding and doing the business and finding that customer. But at the end of the day, one of the things that AI is really strong at is helping you boost that marketing ROI, making sure that you're more targeted. So what we're going to cover today, I've broken this out into something that's really tactical and practical, and I'm going to give you a number of tips here. I'm also going to, you can take some notes. I'm also going to share some resources and templates after this as well. So again, feel free to take screenshots, take some notes and everything. These are things from real world applications of AI in the marketing space. And I know sometimes there's not too much of that. So I wanted to make this as real world and as practical as possible so that you all can take at least one nugget from here that you can apply today, this week, next week. So we're going to really look at why AI is essential for customer targeting specifically. If you haven't used it for that, we're going to cover that. I'm going to give you some pointers around that. What AI can do for your business, specifically, not just some of the things that we've tried. A lot of people here have used ChatGPT and Claude and probably tried a few different things, but what it can do from a business perspective as you get in the context of affecting your business and growing your business. And then we're going to dive into the AI marketing case study, and then we'll save the Q&A and action items towards the end. Again, this is a training, so I want to make this as practical as possible and really have you all think more specifically about your current situation and how you're going to apply this in the short term and also the long term without the overwhelm of diving in technology and being overwhelmed with all the different developments as they're happening. And feel free again to drop in some your questions as we go around, or comments in the chat. Towards the end, we'll kind of walk through those, and then I'll open it up and we'll talk about specific areas. If we haven't met before, or we've, like Jonathan, we've met at some point, and we just want to kind of give you an overview of who I am. My name is G. Kofi Annan, Kofi specifically, and I've been in the digital marketing and technology space for probably about 20 years now. I'm kind of dating myself. So I've seen kind of the different technologies come and take hold in different industries, and how they've been able to change some industries drastically. And certainly with AI, that's happening at an even faster pace. But my role has always been in understanding that technology, understanding the business, and then also the customer, and seeing how all those three pieces could be used to work together to grow both the business, the customer, and the experiences that happen between the two. Some of the companies I've worked for have on the bottom there. And specifically for this conversation, we know that AI, as we know it now, Gen AI, really kicked off in November of 2022. But as I kind of went back through some of the projects that I did, I realized that I had done an AI project about 8 years ago when I was working with Bayer. Certainly, it wasn't as robust as it is now. It was a lot of manual tactics and tools that we were using, but certainly it was the same kind of concepts that we were using then for Bayer and their customers that I found more recently that you can certainly apply to Gen AI and the Gen AI projects that I've been working on. So again, I'm going to share that with you all today. So why AI for customer targeting? Within this context specifically, we want to talk about identifying the challenges, right? Many businesses, they struggle to identify and reach their ideal customers effectively. Whether you're running your own business or you're aligned with a business that is trying to reduce its customer acquisition costs or create a campaign to reach more customers, you know that there's always a challenge as the customer base and consumers' behaviors, habits change, and the global landscape change. So that's always an area that is of concern and different people are working on. Personalization, overwhelm. We know that with businesses, a lot of businesses want to personalize, but there's a big gap between how do you from an operations perspective, how do you personalize your engagement with your customer so that you have that, you develop that deep relationship with them that you know that they want and they expect, but then also balance it with the needs of the business. And I've worked with a number of different companies, bigger companies and even small startups where they really struggle with that personalization. And a lot of times, let's be honest, a lot of times from a business perspective, the personalization goes out the window. We just start generalizing as much as possible because, particularly for the next part, because we don't want to waste our budget, right? You have for startups that, depending on whether you've only been around for 2 years and have some product market fit, or you have a runway and you're scaling or growing, or even if, I worked with a number of companies like Puma, for instance, where how much of the budget actually receives the impact that they're looking to have with their customer really becomes a point of discussion. And again, it's depending on the climate and what's happening at the time, certain decisions can be made that makes the experience and engagement with the customer ineffective such that it affects the business. And, from a financial perspective, there's a lot of waste there. So these are certain three key areas that I've seen AI is really able to affect. The power of AI in customer targeting. So again, we're talking about targeted marketing. Some of us have been in that space before where we're more data centric or technology centric. Some of us are come from an operations perspective, and some of us are kind of the idea people, the people who really come up with the ideas and really think about the holistically how the business can really exist in the world. But we always know that at this point, with the climate being the way it is in different industries, targeting is very key. So you can imagine being able to target your ideal customers with minimal effort. Again, that's the key area that I've seen within in my years that has always been the barrier. The amount of efforts that it takes to be targeted, and budget attached to that sometimes deters people from being targeted and affecting the business. Maximizing that ROI. If you think about maximizing your marketing ROI through that data-driven decisions. So as much as you understand the product, you might at some point have understood the customer. As marketplaces and customers change, you want to be able to be gathering that data that's coming in from you. Some of it is activated data that the customer has been sharing. Some of it is passive that you're collecting separately. But a lot of time that's a missed opportunity because we're not able to use that data, distill that data, and use that data for our marketing and communications. And this is a huge opportunity for AI here. And then going back to those personalized experiences as well, as we're doing things at scale, whatever scale means, whether it's kind of local or you're going global, we want to, again, make sure that the expectation of our customers and our clients, which is that you understand me, you as a business understand me, whether I have a relationship with you as a buyer or not, you understand what I want. And at the end of the day, you're going to benefit my life in a way that makes me better. So there is that personalization, and it's managing that back and forth, that agreement with the customer around their expectation of what you can do and how you can provide that. So AI definitely helps with those personalized experiences. that customers are definitely looking for. So thinking about that, so just think about how would you precisely target your ideal customer, and how would it change your marketing effectiveness and overall bottom line? And these are the key conversations and questions that a lot of businesses, again, regardless of the size of their budget or how long they've been around, a lot of people are really thinking about this. How can I precisely target as much as possible without getting creepy, of course, such that it's effective and it affects my overall bottom line? So what AI can do for your business. So some of the applications that I've seen for AI and the impacts that I've seen using AI in different contexts has been through customer segmentation, AI-driven customer segmentation. So again, as you're looking at that personalization, how are you identifying and categorizing those audiences with precision? Precision. Again, as they evolve, or maybe sometimes as the business evolves from one region to another. Channel efficiency, we know that the landscape of the different channels that you can engage your customer in multiplies by the day, and each one can be a rabbit's hole depending on what decision you make. And I know that with a lot of founders, business owners, and marketing leaders, the anxiety of, am I communicating and engaging with my customer in this right channel? Is this the right channel for me? Is definitely something that's always top of mind. And you could definitely optimize that marketing spend to identify those high value channels with some of the things that I'm going to show you in a little bit. So hyper personalized engagement. So certainly understanding who those people are and those segments, but then also as we're engaging with them in different channels, we're personalizing that engagement, both based on the individual, but then also the context that that engagement and that conversation is happening in. Again, we all are on Facebook. Just taking social from for instance, we're all on Facebook and we're all on LinkedIn, but we know as customers or users that we expect a different kind of engagement with a brand in those different contexts, just on the social context. So the onus is on the company to really personalize that. And again, it has been a barrier before, but this is where AI can definitely come in handy. And as you're getting more complex and like really uh, understanding that the marketing mix and your segmentation and the channels that you're using, what are you doing to kind of grow that audience through lookalike modeling? How are you creating personas and creating understanding behaviors such that you're able to at scale find people who are similar to that customer or segment, and then have the same needs, but then also are able to serve them and engage with them at that point as well. So these are key areas here from a high level that AI could definitely help from a business perspective. Again, beyond what we've seen in the news about ChatGPT and what you could write, and you could prompt engineering. As technologists, we love that stuff and we love to tinker. But at the end of the day, from a business perspective, and in the marketing and advertising and communications context, these are the opportunities for using AI. So thinking about those, which way do you think that AI could have the most immediate impact on your business? So think about the activities that you're going through now, where you're either pitching a project, or you have some customer, or you're a customer that you're onboarding, or even you're developing your project, your product or your offering. How can AI, within those four buckets, how can you use AI more efficiently to have an impact? And as I'll walk you through very shortly, that impact, once you understand and you've answered these questions, can be very immediate and um, uh, very wide. So we're going to dive into, again, a case study here, practical applications of how I've been working. I worked with one of my customers recently which was a tech startup that was in the waste management space. And it's when you think of niches and industries, I don't know which space everyone here is in, but waste management is certainly not one that I've thought more than once about beyond taking out the garbage and seeing the waste management truck. But when this startup engaged with me, I learned a lot more about the waste management industry. But again, seeing some of those same patterns that I talked about as far as inefficiency and segmentation and effectiveness and channel efficiency, those were some of the things that they were dealing with as well. And through our engagements, and I'll walk you through the step by step how we work together. Through our engagement, they were really within a 3 week time frame. They're really able to do. We're together. We're really able to have an impact on the business and clarify some things to them and give them a path forward for that was going to affect a lot of their upcoming activities. But again, with such a much smaller budget and a shorter period of time. And I've worked with large agencies, advertising marketing agencies where, when I worked with Party City, for instance, and we were digitizing all their SKUs, that took months, right? And lots of budget and lots of hands and a lot of anxiety, depending on who the project leader at the time. But again, within this context that I'll walk you through here with this waste management tech startup, we were able to do the amount of work of what would have taken about 20 people and 6 months to do. We're able to do that with 2 people in 2.5, 3 weeks. And have that and be able to both accomplish what we wanted to accomplish, but then have the impact, see the impact on the business as well. So let's dive in. So as I mentioned, the situation was the waste management sector was rapidly evolving. Again, if you're looking at if you've been in and around that space or any B2B, even if it's healthcare, you know that there's a lot of changes happening with the players that are happening there, the customers, even legislation, for instance, could be affecting that. There was increasing competition in the saturated online market. One of the things that I've seen across a number of different markets as technology enables different activities and different players to launch a product or a business and enter a market, that market becomes more saturated and there becomes more choice for the customer, but then some of those choices are not and then competition is definitely higher. So the goal when we were working together was to connect them more effectively with specifically construction professionals. And there's a context there around construction professionals because up until we met and we started working together, the challenge was that they really had the difficulty targeting those construction professionals. They had been putting together a lot of ads, going to a lot of on and offline events, and really doing all the marketing things that you're supposed to do. But what they were finding is that the professionals that they were trying to find, it was hard to target because if you've been in that space or you've been in construction or anything like that, you understand that sometimes they're hobbyists. They're people who come in and out from a customer base, but you have to really be able to evaluate the credibility of that person and then also serve them your solution at scale. And with a limited budget, they weren't really able to do that. So they were going very general and spending a lot of budget on some things. And I'll show you exactly where some of the gaps were. And they were attracting wide consumer audiences. Consumers again are, especially if you're looking at online search or even in social, if you're in those channels, that you can find a lot of consumers or prosumers, let's just say, that can opt into your sales messages or even your email marketing, but they're not really your customer. So for this company, they were getting a lot more of that, and I'll show you why. And it was their startup, so they really, though they had a runway, they really didn't have the endless budget even some of the bigger competitors had. So they really had to be really strategic and targeted for what they needed to do. So the approach that I walked them through was the three-step method for targeting your ideal customers. And this is a method that I've developed over the years. I've worked with large companies and even smaller companies, and I've seen that walking through this step for this stage of the engagement really works. And I'll walk you through it. Step one, understand your audience. As business owners or even marketing leaders, at some point we've engaged with the audience. Maybe we bought some market research, or maybe we are the audience. If we started your own startup. But again, behaviors change, environments change, and you have to keep up to date with who they are. So you need to gain the deep insights into their needs and behaviors. In this case, specifically, of construction professionals at a rapid pace. So that's one area there, understanding the audience. Once we understand who the audience is, then we need to learn their language. And this is a huge area that gets forgotten a lot of times. When we're looking at when you're in a meeting and you have things up on the wall, or you're looking at data points, we tend to miss the nuances around language, how people talk within a certain context, which I've seen is a huge indicator and a huge signal for businesses to both understand who they are, but then also understand who is and isn't their customer. So in the case of this tech startup, it was understanding that industry specific language that resonated with those professionals, and I'll show you an example in a little bit. And then finally, identifying their needs. Once you understand who they are and you understand their language, so how they talk about the problem that they're trying to solve for, and even how they talk about what their aspirations are and everything like that, then you're able to identify those needs, and we're able to uncover the target opportunities to reach them effectively, because that's where the business solution comes in service of those needs. So step one, let's dive a little deeper. So one of the things that we did was, in understanding their audience, was we identified where they were. You cannot know who somebody is if you don't know where to find them. And these days they change. So we used a tool that I recommend everyone use, regardless how much budget you have, called SparkToro. And SparkToro, essentially, it's a market research tool. It's a lot more than that. Started by a gentleman called Rand Fishkin, who started in the SEO world. But for this tech startup, what we did was that we started off with, okay, where have you engaged, or what are some of the platforms on and offline that you've previously engaged in customers that you would call your ideal customer? They went to a lot of conferences. So conference is a huge opportunity to understand specifically what people are looking for. So we fed that into SparkToro, and I'll show you a screenshot in a minute, to say, okay, who are the people who attend this event, and what else, from an affinity perspective, are they interested in? And SparkToro is really, really good at that. And it's not natively AI specific, but they're slowly building some AI capabilities in there, which you'll see across a lot of different software these days. Next one we used was Gummy Search, another really under the radar tool that's really, really helpful, particularly if you're looking at Reddit. Now, a lot of businesses, and particularly in the B2B space, will say that, well, Reddit is a little Wild West and too many, my customers not really there. And as a matter of fact, the tech startup, the founder, said the same thing. Well, no, Reddit is not relevant to my customer or to my business, but quite the contrary. Reddit has thousands of different forums that have been running for a long time, and regardless of what how niche you think you are, and how obscure your industry is, you will find a subreddit where some of your customers are talking there. And in this case, we did use Gummy Search. It's an AI focused tool. It's able to crawl the entirety of Reddit, and then also aggregate all the information about all the subreddits, all the conversations that are happening within those subreddits, and then also on top of that, provide you with insights around those conversations. Huge opportunity that not even 5 years ago would have taken thousands of dollars and many, many, many man hours, and you probably still wouldn't have even gotten the insights from there. But again, AI's Gummy Search as a tool that's specifically focused on AI is able to do that in minutes. And if you know what you're looking for, you're able to gather that really quickly. So through using these things, we were able to develop a clear picture of the audience's challenges and motivations, looking at where they are, listening in to what they're talking about in different contexts. And it allowed us to really understand what the message, the gaps in even the startup's messaging. And obviously, going from there, we're able to develop even better messaging because at the end of the day, we're actually using the words that they're using amongst themselves, particularly even for solutions related to other customers. So a lot that you could do with SparkToro and Gummy Search. And here are some screenshots. On the left here, you'll see Gummy Search. You're able to create essentially cohorts and segments you're able to aggregate all the different Reddit subreddits that are relevant based on keyword search. You're able to essentially pull them into one stream, and then you'll see kind of in the middle column there, in the right column, look at the themes. So even the sentiment around what they're talking about. So is it a hot discussion? Maybe it's a current topic. Is it advice that that's being requested within that conversation, and so on and so forth, and then also the topics. So just even from a high level, looking at the topics, you can see the prevalence of certain kinds of topics that your customer would be talking about, and you're able to dive even deeper than that. And SparkToro on the right here, you see their core dashboard where they're able to both give you the demographics, psychographics of some of the people who visit. In this case, it was the conference website. And one part of SparkToro that I really love and I actually go to first beyond this landing page is what's called hidden gems. So these are smaller platforms, channels that don't get all the attention from a news perspective that that you would do when you do a Google search, or even if you use Perplexity. We'll talk about that in a bit. But they're highly influential to that niche. So again, using the tools that we have here to really understand our audience, maybe even you could argue even maybe more than they understand themselves. So step 2, let's learn their language. So now we know where they are. Now we know what they're talking about. We dove into, okay, what, not just from a topical perspective, but what are the words that they're using that's different? Two of the tools that we use primarily, and we use some others, but these are the main ones that we use, were Perplexity AI. And I'm actually surprised, I guess, as a geek, you're always surprised that people haven't heard of certain things, because you're deep, you're drinking the Kool-Aid every day. But Perplexity is a very powerful tool that's almost a combination between ChatGPT as it exists now. I'm sure they're going to evolve, but ChatGPT as it exists now, and a Google search. So really, really powerful in analysis, finding different cohorts, understanding language, those kinds of things. Again, just a reminder, after all of this, I'm going to send you an email with some of the raw data, some of the prompts and such like that. So don't worry about that. I'll provide some of that to kick you off. And then in ChatGPT itself, probably about a year ago, maybe shorter, they introduced the idea of GPTs. Those have evolved since then. But again, at the time when we were working together with this tech company, there was a data analyst GPT, and you ask, well, ChatGPT analyzes data, but just like any other service and any other platform, there are ways to get even more specific and get a tool to be even more powerful based on focus, right? So what are you focused on at this time? What kind of information are you trying to get? And what is the right tool for it? And you'll see this pattern playing out in this whole workflow. It's not about just going to ChatGPT and trying to get ChatGPT to tell you the language, tell you where they are, where they exist, tell you all the segmentation analysis, tell ChatGPT is good at certain things, but AI as a baseline is good at most things. You just have to find the right configuration. And that's where one of the things that I'm happy about is a lot of tools now building in that AI capabilities. A lot of really focused tools, again, like Gummy Search, for instance, is building that capability. So if you're looking for uh, information about certain Reddit things, you have that ability. And I challenge you all to think of AI more in that context than just a singular platform, ChatGPT or Claude or whatever, that's going to solve everything for us. In our work, we use different tools, as you can see here, and I assume that you do as well. So, based on the task at hand, where can you find an AI software that's able to facilitate that? And the outcome from this learning the language step 2 is that the process was we ended up coming with a vocabulary list, right? So not just the words they're saying, but what are the meanings and those kind of things. Some of these things were even things that the company I was working with, they use some of the terms they use themselves, but they never really thought twice about it because it's just the lingo, right? But it was really powerful to bring it forth in this context to say that no, if that's the way you talk in your industry, that is the way that your messaging and your engagement, those are the contexts that you should be using. So that vocabulary was very powerful and important for them to capture that lingo of those construction professionals, again, because we found who they are. And and of course, it enhances the authenticity of those messages. So if they do come across your message or they do even meet the one of the sales reps at a in-person event, that lingo and that the clarity of vocabulary ingratiates that customer to the brand, to that business, such that they're able to see that as a potential opportunity for solving a problem that they had. So here's some screenshots of some of um, the terms and activities that we were doing using those AI tools. Again, I talked about Perplexity AI. In this context, one of the things that we did was, what are the keywords and key phrases construction professionals use in reference to waste management and disposal? Again, context is key. AI knows more than any of us could ever know, but if you're not specific, you're going to get a generalized answer or generalized response. So each one of within even this one prompt here, the identification of the specific person, the construction professional, and in reference to waste management versus building materials versus real estate versus all those kinds of things. Again, so cascading, these are some of the things that we learned in the first part where we were understanding the audience and we saw how they were essentially categorizing on their end. Voila, AI Assistant is a desktop assistant that I use a lot. There are a few of these now that essentially it ties into ChatGPT on the back end, but it allows you to query essentially anything that's on your desktop. So in this case, I went to the competitor's website and I said, give me a list of long tail keywords that only a construction person would use. So as much as we looked at them within the forums and social, we're saying that, well, some of the bigger competitors, why are they successful, right? So we're essentially going to their website and we're saying, give me give me the terminology that they're using here, which because they're one of the incumbents, we know that they've done a lot more of the research around how to talk to these people. So, AI is able to do that. You don't have to, um, I know my UX people in the audience, sometimes going page by page by page and reading every single it. Yeah, So this is a way that you can gather top line data, top line information, and then obviously distill that with your human expertise. Again, let AI do the heavy lifting, use your expertise where it counts. Bottom left here is the data analyst, GPT. What we did here as well, again, kind of looking at Trustpilot. So, Trustpilot being essentially a review site for businesses. People leave a lot of reviews. The huge opportunity to again understand what a what in this case a one of the competitors, people are leaving trust pilot reviews, and they're essentially telling you what the gap is in your competitor's service, such that you're able to take that and reverse engineer that into your product if it fits that context. So huge insights here. Bottom right is a tool called vidIQ. And essentially, it does a lot of what these other tools, the Voila and Data Analyst and such, does for YouTube. YouTube being the biggest, second biggest, if not the biggest, maybe not, search engine. And YouTube has really been beefing up its transcripts and its the ability to not just watch the video, but also gain insights from that video. And vidIQ has positioned itself primarily for YouTubers, but from a business perspective, or any business perspective, if you find, in this case, we found a talk by one of the influencers in the space with one of the competitors. And we essentially just queried, we used vidIQ to understand what the transcripts, what they were talking about, some of the things that they were even saying that was a gap in their process or their brand on there. And then also vidIQ is also able, you can query that, you can get tags from there, and there are a number of things that you could do. And on the back end, it allows you to, if you're generating content, it allows you to do that as well. So again, 4 different ways, 4 different tools, one of which is sub ChatGPT. But again, the idea here is that ChatGPT specifically, I love it, but I think a lot of people automatically go to it and expect it to do all the things, and you have to know how to use the tool. So these are something that you could try. So step 3, assess their needs. So as we're diving deeper, we've gathered all that information. We have a lot of data. AI is good at crunching the numbers and crunching all that data and providing and getting insights. Gone are the days where you didn't want to download a PDF because, oh my gosh, I'm going to download it and I have to read it. Oh my gosh, when am I going to? And you just have it piling up in your, that folder that you have on the side there that has all the white papers in. So AI will help you go through all those based on the what you're trying to gather. In this case, we use a tool called Instant Data Scraper, which is essentially a web scraper, Chrome plug-in. So we're able to scrape some of those industry websites, identifying the gaps, keywords, those kinds of things. Again, pulling as much, it made it so much easier to pull data from where we needed to then aggregate all of that and then gather insights and strategies from that. And AI is great for that. Competitive analysis, AI is great for that keyword focus, understanding the competitors. And even as we're looking at more niche construction professionals, also looking at, okay, well, what are the keywords that a homeowner would use that we should definitely avoid? And the outcome was a priority list of keywords specifically tailored to those professionals. And here's an example of the before and after. On the left here, you have the keywords that the company had been using, and they were buying Google ads, they were creating content, they were putting it in their sales materials, they were enabling their sales staff to really, with these keywords, like like really training them. But again, those were very generalized. Versus where we came to on the right, which is the language based on all our research and all our activities that AI was able to allow us to aggregate so that it could get even more specific. And this is just one step, really. The next step for our engagement was to go internally to now start doing those same activities with the AI enabled within the context of what they had. The salespeople are talking live to people at conferences, which is something that they do a lot. What are those conversations? What is happening in those conversations with the other person's if the other person agrees, can you record some of those conversations? Can some of the salespeople are they able to even record, post sales calls? And then with AI, we're able to transcribe that, and then also both put an analysis around it and say, okay, this is where we were on the left. This is where we want to be on the right. Okay, what's the gap? What are we saying that is not closing the deal? Again, once you have all this information and AI makes it really readily available, you can answer some of these questions much quicker and form a strategy that you're able to use. So results and impact, as you can imagine, improved efficiency. So beyond knowing, for instance, at the very least, where these people are, there was a forum called Contractor Talk. It is just a forum where contractors go to talk. You could go there and listen to them. But yeah, they're talking among themselves, talking about their businesses, talking about their needs, in this case, dumpster hiring and stuff. So improve efficiency. Even if this tech company didn't really go through all these processes all the time, this is one insight in one area that they could quickly go understand the keywords they're looking for and get value from them. Enhance accuracy, so you know what you understand what the topics are, you know where the people are, so it even gives you as the decision maker the confidence to say that I know this is where I'm going to spend my money. I know that this is where I'm going to get that ROI, and these are the things that I'm going to look at. So AI will allow you to even get to that point of confidence where you're confident on where things are now, and you have a game plan of how you can adjust when you start seeing those signals. And increase engagement, tailoring those messages, putting them out there into the world, and seeing it resonates, whether it be on the website or through email marketing, or even through sales materials, and seeing that response rate, again, gathering that data, you're able to understand what's resonating and what isn't. Again, in my experience, this would have taken, I mean, I know this, I just worked with one large company, multinational company, where for 7 months or so, and when I stopped working with them, they were still trying to figure out what channels that they should be engaging in. Um, little different problem there because the tools exist, but it's about process. But again, it's about mindset and using the tools that we have. So I walked you through that, and really it's back to you, right? Your turn. First, you have to set your goals. Okay, what are you trying to accomplish outside of AI? AI can do many things. I always tell people that the context is AI is a really smart and capable intern. Keyword being intern. They only know and can only it only knows and can go where you tell it to, and it's only as effective as you direct it. So setting your goals before you dive into which tool to use, and you, all of them are available. Most of them are free. You could use all of them, but again, setting those goals is really important, and you can see that accuracy and that targeting within 30 days. And I've seen this happen with some of my clients. And immediate implementation. So identify one AI tool. It could be Perplexity, vidIQ, um, Gummy Search. What one tool can be integrated into your marketing efforts on the back end within a week that you could try out now? Again, based on a small test and a small question that you're trying to ask, that you could start understanding how that version of AI is helpful to you and your business. So setting a goal and starting small. Those are the two areas that when I work with clients that I really focus on. Instead of trying to boil the ocean, you're trying to solve specific problems at certain points. And there's another framework that I use when I'm with clients that are early on, and it's called O.A.T. So when clients are when we engage and they're very early on and they kind of are spinning and don't know, they have a problem but they don't know where to go, I to help them focus, we have a conversation about what can be optimized. That's the O. What can be amplified. So optimize being what's happening behind the scenes, like within your business, something that's not customer facing. What can be optimized? How can AI help you optimize that? What can be amplified? Okay, what is some of the things that are already in the market that AI can help you amplify? And then, and only then, do you need to go to the transformation part, which is, okay, how do you change something totally so that that you see the results in your business, for your brand, with your customers that you need? So simple takeaway here is setting your goals, immediate implementation, particularly around that optimization context, something that's small, that's internal, that can allow you to start choosing your AI enabled tools wisely and start seeing those results. And then you can start going externally and then transforming. A lot of people start with, generating content and putting it out in the world. And, I advise against that most times.